Hi, I'm wearing my yachting hat to talk about this. Well, I used to do a lot of yachting off in South Africa, off Durban, which is on the east coast. And they've got the main current coming down, and then you've got the counterflow current going the other way. And you get some truly monstrous waves there, because sometimes you get what they call holes in the sea, and then the ship falls down the hole. Meanwhile, there's a wave built up here, and it just falls on the top of the ship and has broken the back of ships. They're just quite horrific, these waves. They're 30, 40, 50 meters high, which is 60, 70 feet high. And when they were doing the program, and they found that they had some huge waves there because so many ships had been lost in that area. Now, I've yachted in that area, and I must tell you that the waves that I have seen there are truly monstrous and terrifying. Out of a crew of 8 on one particular race we were in, 4 of them wouldn't even go on deck. They were so petrified. They wouldn't even leave their bunks. That's how bad it was. And I was skippering half the time, and I'd look up and I'd think, gee, I just wish I wasn't seeing what I could see, these huge waves heading towards us. And it's only when you've been out there, and I see some of these smart replies on here by some people who make smart replies, who don't understand the situation, who've never put their lives on the line to go and do that sort of thing, and lived on the edge. Then I would like to say to them, you go and try that. You see how petrified you are. Men who are complete atheists on their hands and knees praying their lives away to try and save themselves because they were so horrified at what they were seeing. Let's see those men out there and see their smart remarks then. Now, so I admire these skippers and these crew who go out there to get this. Fine, it's for money. Yes, of course it's for money. But who else would go out there to do that? But one of the things I'd like to sort of talk about here is, once again, is money. Because these people all these fishermen, whether it be British fishermen or American fishermen or any fishermen, when they go out, they switch on their engines and will not switch off that engine for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 days, 10 days, maybe 2, 3 weeks. And the result is they use a phenomenal amount of fuel to do that. Because everything from that engine comes. Your hydraulics, your cooking, your lights, your pumps, your everything just comes from that. Your cooling for the fish as well. All comes from those big engines. And so that they cannot do without them. Now, one of the things that costs so much in all these situations is fuel. Now, one of the things I would like to suggest to people who own boats, whether it be narrow boats, fishing boats, pleasure boats, which use a lot of fuel, even yachts use a lot of fuel. If there's no wind, sometimes you're inclined to switch on your engine. I would like to suggest that they look at using fuel cells. This is a picture of a fuel cell here. It's not as big as this. It's about a quarter of that size, perhaps, but it's just how the picture turned out. You can see this is not a fuel cell. This here is a sort of sort of one-way bubbling device, that thing there. And this particular cell can, in actual fact, supply H2O. And that H2O will supplement the diesel and the petrol and save up to 40% and more on petrol, because petrol already is very bad. I mean, you sometimes throwing away 80% of it. So there we are. That's another fuel cell. This one's designed for trucks and boats, etc. As you can see on the top here, we have what we call a header tank, and in that header tank we put things like the electrolyte, which supplements the electrolyte in these fuel cells down here. If they, in actual fact, run out of electrolyte, then this fills it up, because there's a level device in there. And it automatically does that. So you've only got one device to top up at the top here. You've got you've got this top on here, just to screw that, fill it up again, and then it will keep itself going. And that should last a long time. You just keep on doing that from a source or supply of the electrolyte. So these will save up to 40%. For instance, on emissions. One particular vehicle we put on recently was a E-type Mercedes, and that had 1.85 on the emissions testing device, which you probably know is a laser, and that sort of tests the amount of particulates that are in the gases that are coming out. When we put the fuel cell on, it dropped down to 0.85 and then 0.8, and slightly lower than that. And this gives you some indication of how efficient fuel cells are in burning particulates and reducing the emissions out the back. And of course also reducing the fuel required. And the other thing it's very good at is of course cooling the engine down. So, you know, if you want to contact us about this to learn more, those are our contact addresses. You've got it's a fuel saver fuel cell, www.tfuelcell.com. Contact, that's the contact email address, the international telephone number, and the phone call if you want to phone from the UK. Thank you very much for your time, and we want you to get fuel cells in and save not only yourselves but also the country a lot of money.